All right, we're back, and I hope this works. Captain's log, my last transmission was severely damaged and interrupted, and I have no idea what went wrong, and so I don't really know. I thought it was working. I think this is working, and I don't even know if it's going to work. Gonna try calling some more people to reconnect here, and hopefully this works. First things first, though, I do need to call my mom again because it's been a second since I've tried to contact her, and she still has no idea what's going on in my life or where I am. So we're gonna fire this thing up, and hopefully this works. Let's everybody out there, cross your fingers, and let's hope the system stays reliable this time. Okay, so. Okay, that's a good start. I'm gonna... Okay.
Hi, you've reached Colleen. I can't come to the phone right now. I'm living and loving it up in Florida, so if you need me, just leave me a message. And if you're one of my kids,
seems to be a reoccurring problem here. Okay.
Melodramatic situation.
All right, I'm not even gonna.
Just text.
Thanks, Mom. Thanks. I'm done with that. I try. You know what? What do? You try. I'm gonna try to call my sister again real quick. All right, kind of striking out here. Well, I'm gonna call. I haven't talked to in a hot sec is my bud Badnights. My bud Badnights. That's a good TV show name. He's a good homie. Badnights, known from our hot collab fame, Wasted Time. He is a fellow nerd, and I think he gets a lot of the nerd territory stuff I get into. So I think that's worth a shot, and I'll just work my way down the list, and we're gonna see who answers here. All right.
Hello.
Oh,
hello,
Rick.
Well, you're sounding kind of far away.
Rick, like how far away? Can you hear me? Is it working?
Yeah, I'm getting something.
Something?
Hello?
Okay. Just so you know, I'm having tech problems as I mean, that's not surprising to you though at all, is it?
We know about the tech problems. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, hold on one sec. Do you have video? You pull up here?
Let's see.
Hold on, let me get you here.
Hello?
The Rickster. He's looking good. Look at that.
Wow. We're here. Just like that.
Just like that. Thanks for answering my call.
Yeah.
I know it's been a hot second. I like
Does everybody?
Well, no. My mom never answers when I call her.
Well, she's elusive.
Yeah, yes, she is. We're a lot alike actually in that way. I like your setup there. That's looking nice.
Oh, thank you. Temporary setup. We're
temporary.
Oh yeah. We got to do it all the way, even if it's temporary. But
you're always moving shit.
Oh, always moving shit. But
it's like me. I'm always recabling.
There's a new space on the horizon. It's just we're in the design phase, in the construction phase. So hopefully, it'll be less. It'll be more spread out. We'll have more space. So we love that.
We do love that. Yeah, I like it. It's kind of got like it feels like a little modern minimal. I like the lights back there, but the white, and I've got this like more dark, moody thing.
True. I'm trying to figure that out. What I want to go for the next iteration. I like the. I mean, I do like the clean, the white, the bright. I think I'm in that phase of life. You know.
Yeah, what are you leaning into? And this might actually
Ooh.
connect to my next question, which is,
I
well,
love like a nice bohemian kind of design
okay,
language.
okay. Say more about that to clarify that. What you
Well,
mean
it's
by
like
bohemian?
a hybrid of like in Japanese culture they call it wabi sabi, which is like perfectly
Sure,
imperfect. So
sure.
it's like maximalism hiding behind minimalism, which doesn't make any sense at all. But
Okay,
that's what we're going for.
okay. So
Industrial yet natural,
does that connect
balanced.
in any way? Because what I wanted to ask you is because I was having a great conversation with my sister that ended up getting broken up and not transmitted, but it was like about um, your artist journey and reconnecting with your true self. And I wanted to know where you are at in that. And does this design language perhaps connect in any way to where you find you're at in your artist journey?
That's a great question. I think absolutely. I am. I've always been a DIY bedroom producer, or on the go mobile laptop warrior.
Yeah. Wait,
So
wait,
I
real
am
quick, tell everybody the quick sales pitch on who Badnights is, in case they don't know. Because I know, but
Badnights is a musical artist, a gentleman seeking to create uh, interesting things to consume for the masses. That's what he is.
I like that. Yeah, this is where I feel like we connect, is because we like a lot of different types of shit. Like you're a musician and a producer and a lot of things in the musical realm, but
Absolutely.
also like other
But
things too.
we're hobbyists,
Yeah.
yet the problem with our hobbies is that we also seek to do them at the highest level.
Yeah,
And
so
it
they
is just,
inevitably become like a
yes,
profession.
totally. And we're always trying to intertwine them. How does my new skill help my main quest?
But that's
So
like, yeah, I love that shit though, because I feel like it opens up your palette of what you can do as an artist instead of being restricted by one
absolutely,
thing.
restrictions are the most frustrating things for us, right? Because we're always like, I think both you and I are confident enough to be like, oh, we can do that, we can be that,
We'll
we
figure
can
that
do it
out.
just
Yeah.
like, yeah, exactly. Like, we'll figure it out. Mindset is, I think, what separates a lot of just general folk out there today seeking to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, totally. You have to be open to the thought that you can do it. And not everybody feels that way.
Yeah, it's figuring out how to not make excuses, because making it easier to not make excuses. I know so many folks who just essentially just give up because they don't feel like they are capable or can figure it out. But they have these awesome goals and ideas. It's just too often not, more often than not, they're falling victim to that self doubt.
Yeah. I feel like one of the best things I've learned or like maybe taught myself is that at this point I'm pretty confident in my ability to figure most things out. Like I've fucked
And I think
around a lot and I've pretty much
totally,
gotten somewhere. Like I've made progress, right?
you fuck around until either you figure it out, or to the point where you can't be afraid to just ask
Yeah.
someone who you think could figure it out.
Which
Right?
is still part of figuring it out, I would say. There's nothing wrong with asking
Absolutely.
for help. Yeah.
Totally. I think people are so hesitant to do that these days, and
Yeah. They're
never
it's
put
you think
yourself.
it's just a fear thing? It's a fear of the work or a fear of
Yeah,
being judged, a fear of
insecurity.
yeah.
Probably right. I mean, a lot of everyone's downfalls pretty much
Most
stem
shit
from
is yeah.
insecurity, right?
Yeah.
So always a barrier to hurdle, and you take your baby steps to make the hurdle easier over time. Right?
Yeah. Okay, so then what are you currently figuring out? Back to your design language and current artist journey. Where are you going? What's your vibe? What are you trying to figure out?
It's a good question. I think in my current artist journey, in the midst of this renaissance of consumerism art and major overstimulation of the masses, I think intention is the word I would throw out there. I think I'm really just trying to take my time with my projects and figure out what I'm intending versus like, we always talk about feeding this machine of just over flooding, people with what you're doing. And to me, I think it's important to slow down, think about what you're doing, think about the quality, like, what makes you more proud or satisfied with it, right? So we're in no rush. I'm a victim of falling into having way too many projects at the same time. And that's, exciting, but also like a downfall. And also it's like, even though I have so many projects going on, I always fall into that, like, I feel like I'm not doing enough issue. Literally yesterday I was feeling like, oh man, I feel like I'm falling behind on so many things. And I'm just trying to like just constant catch up. Right. But then like, I just get a bunch of like messages coming in of like collaborations and stuff I'm working on. And I was like, oh yeah, like months ago of like all this work you did, like, is just like happened, it's finally like coming together. You just kind of forget about it type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just got messages that like a bunch of songs were getting finished and stuff like that. So I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, but let's go.
Yeah, I connect with that a lot. Like, I feel like I've been trying to figure that out myself. What's the intention? What am I trying to do?
You got to zoom out.
You do. So it's so easy to just get this
you're,
like
you're
really
right here. You're staring at the screen every day. You don't see like the bricks that you're laying down outside of, So it's all good. It's just you gotta get the holistic view.
Holistic
of yourself.
View. So you're still trying to figure that out, or
totally? I think it'll probably be forever. Honestly.
Yeah.
As a guy who like we're saying, so many hobbies. I'm picking up, as we know, like filmmaking jobs, random opportunities, just here and there, all trying to just funnel into the holistic version of the artist that is myself.
What's your dream scenario then of how that plays out, or some type of hope of what that looks like? Because I'm assuming you have some type of idea, right? Of like
totally, yeah. I totally dream of just continuing to build my community and being able to being uninhibited to create my music in this case for the most part. I want to be a musical artist in some sort of traditional sense, but I also think there's a future version of it that like we haven't even really thought about yet, kind of, like
it kind of feels like there's about to be a whole, I mean, it's already pretty different, but it's about to be a whole new type of career.
It's not, the goal isn't quite pop star, but it's also not like SoundCloud independent, like, internet, guy,
e-boy.
Yes, it's not there. It's in between, but it's also more complex than that, I think. I want to be out there, but it's the classic case of like, they say you got to be mysterious, but you also have to put all yourself out there.
Yeah, you got to share everything about yourself.
Right. So, we're still figuring that out. There's lots of music on the horizon. There's lots of I don't know. Maybe there's
Any
a
other
vlog
media
channel.
types of projects on the horizon?
Totally. Well, I'm always working on film stuff. I am dreaming of some sort of way to. I'm traveling a lot coming up. I think again, so maybe like some sort of vlog, but it's got to be you know me. Like we got to do it different, and we got to do it cool. So we'll see. It's all being fleshed out.
What is missing from the current? I mean, I don't really know. I feel like you're definitely the type who is a little bit more in tune with the YouTube culture and those types of creators. And I don't know shit anymore. I like hardly go on the internet. So like, what's missing from the current vlog content or creators? Like, what do you think you could or should do better?
I don't watch a ton of vlogs, but it's more like I'm trying to tell stories, right? Like, I think I'm more interested in doing something like that, where it's a little bit more pre-prepared or pre-production, I guess. Something with more intention, the new buzzword of the day, intention, demure.
Is demure intention? I don't even know what it means.
Well, that's,
yeah, Sadie said it, but
demure
is like, it's like a
so
modesty.
Mindful. It's like mindfulness, like almost dainty, kind of like you're just trying to be like chill. I think that's what you're trying to
chill
do.
is.
Because like if you're like overbearing, you're not demure.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I think. That's the vibe that the internet's trying to put out.
Got it. Okay, so now everybody wants less overbearing and a little more demure.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, how would you do that in a vlog then? Like what, or like quick pitch? I want to know.
We find the story. All right. So for example, I'm going to go to France and Italy this November, right?
Sick. Okay.
So pre-production phase starting soon. We find the narrative. We're still planning the trip out itself, so it's kind of like kind of depends on where we're headed. But I would love to hit up Milan, love to hit up Venice. That place is sinking, so I'm trying to see that before it does that. And all my great friends are Italian, so I'm trying to see their motherland.
Nice.
But other than that, just create something. It's just got to be more, for lack of a better term, like high quality, but also DIY. You can tell it's like, I don't want it to be too promiscuous or whatever, or
like flashy.
Sorta.
Avoid the sizzle reel type beat.
Yeah, definitely. It's got to be a hybrid, like.
And that comes from simply the type of filming or content, like more POV, like phone GoPro footage versus nice DSLR.
It's gonna be interesting because we have options of the type of content.
You got a lot of toys.
Exactly. Like that's not my bottleneck. It's more of the execution that we're working on, right? I don't know. I know I want to, as a huge consumer of YouTube, I know I want to be on there. I just haven't figured out exactly how yet. Maybe it does fall into a more traditional vlog sense, or maybe even perhaps reviews or something like that. Maybe both. I don't know.
Yeah, mix it all together. I'm a fan of that.
Right. So, here we go again. Back into the sense of too many things going on, but it's all right.
Yeah, and it's like the best way to just sort it out is to like kind of start fucking with it pretty much. Like
totally. Yep. And that's what actually, it's funny. I actually filmed a mini vlog thing for my dad, funny enough, who's just like this late 60s.
Right. Like
dude,
it's like about him,
chill.
his life.
Yeah. It's all right. So like in Vietnam, right, they have they're really into YouTube now. They've discovered the YouTube for sure. And I think that it would actually go like my dad watches a lot of YouTube now, just constantly.
Mine does too.
Vietnamese specific,
Yeah.
you know, and there's all sorts of content going on, but very just whatever, you know, low quality stuff. But they're getting like, you know, unbelievable views, like, you know, high viral type numbers just of like random phone footage of them just chilling, walking around like the city or whatever. I think it's a lot of like immigrants like my father who's moved to the States, and they watch like, you know, people filming around in the street or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, like that's what it looks like now, you know, 50 or 40 years later or whatever, stuff like that. So it's kind of like a day with what he's, you know, the channel name is called essentially it translates to like my dad's name is Vu, so it's Uncle Vu in the US or whatever, basically. And it's just like a really cool sizzle reel that has like a mini narrative, because like he has his garden, you know, and he runs our family has a restaurant here in the States, and you know,
that's interesting.
It's
It's like a peek into his life, like all the things he likes.
Yeah, it's particularly like high quality and funny. You know,
are you shooting it with your Red?
No, I actually am shooting it with this camera right here, but the quality is it's the DJI Osmo 3 Pocket 3. It is one of the hottest cameras of the year.
Wait, this is the Pocket 3 you're using right now?
Yeah.
Really? So, can it doesn't that one auto follow you or some shit?
Yep, it'll auto follow you.
Can you show it right now? Can you make it do it, or is that only when you're not using it as a webcam?
No, it works for sure with the webcam. I've done it before. There we go.
Oh. Ooh, that looks pretty good.
Yep.
That looks good.
So it's pretty fun. It's a fun toy. It's my favorite camera of the year, as a lot of guys. I had to wait on a list for like 6 months to get one. So.
Damn. So that's hot. Okay, tell me the other hot items of the year.
Or tech.
Fill me in. Tech or anything really. I want to know because you're tied into the pop culture. Like I said, I'm not, obviously, so
I'm like medium tied in. I follow what I like, you know.
Yeah,
my algorithm of search.
To me, you're like locked in.
Totally,
you're my source. You're my pulse to the people.
So you're getting the trickle down version of my algorithm, basically.
Yeah, right. And yeah, it's been a second since you've cued me in, so I need to know.
So as far as in tech and like cameras specifically, that camera, DJI Osmo Pocket 3, very hot. Fujifilm, very hot. Also really hard to attain. They could put out their X106, which is it looks like a film camera. It's like a rangefinder type camera. But the hot thing with that is it does something called film recipes. So they're like emulating like old, you know, you can like really dial it in with all these recipes, and there's like Reddits about like people sharing their recipes to make certain looks and stuff like that.
Sure.
But
so that's embracing kind of the film culture resurgence a little bit or something?
It's the people are attracted to it because for years the typical workflow for professional photographer or whatever is it's all about the post edit, right? You get a camera that can shoot in RAW, gets the most detailed dynamic range, whatever. You shoot it, and then you take it and edit and shape it how you want. Now, this camera, you can do that, right? But the appeal to it is that, one, it's tiny. It's like the size of a phone. Two, it's a fixed lens, so you're met with this restriction of, like, this is what you have to work with. You can't change lenses on it, is what I'm saying. And you shoot JPEG a lot. A lot of people shoot JPEG only, and then the picture, it is what it is. You know, like your recipe's there. You try to take your time to like make the photo versus take a photo, if that makes sense to you. Yeah, all the dials and switches are hardware, so like you can just do it through like the menu or whatever, but like there's a switch to change the shutter speed, the switch to change the ISO manually, you know, like a film camera. You're like twisting it, and that's very satisfactory.
Really tactile.
Yep. So I have a version that's 2 iterations ago from that, but the new one's obviously very hot. So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's in tech.
Hot tech.
Demure is hot.
Demure is hot.
On TikTok or whatever, but I'm not really on TikTok that much.
Same.
I should be though.
Well, yeah, shouldn't we
Maybe.
all? I've been away for
They say that.
almost 2 years. You know.
How do you feel about it?
About TikTok?
No change?
Or being away?
No, being away. Do you
good. I feel very good about it because I've been able to literally feel a change in
mentally,
mental, energy, like perspective,
really
my
forming
productivity. Full Demure.
So brain rot is at a minimum.
Yeah, and not just TikTok. I think all of it as a whole. I mean, I'll generalize and say internet as a whole. Crashing the ship out here has been worth it, despite the frustrations that have come with that. The space.
Grass is always greener, right?
Yeah, the space is needed, but like, I do find myself like thinking about returning.
Do you feel sometimes like you're the guy sitting alone at lunch?
Yes, actually, a lot.
Like you're with your friends or whatever, and they're all talking about some shit, and then you're like,
I almost feel like I look like the crazy guy over there, and everybody. He's the crazy guy who lives on the outskirts of town. He's the guy who lives in the jungle. Everybody else is living in town in Tulum, and and they're like, oh yeah, that's that guy who doesn't have power, and like he doesn't have a phone, and like, you know what I mean? But like, I'm honestly really enjoying myself, so
sure.
You know, which is great. Like I don't need that. Yeah, I don't need that like affirmation really. Getting through that initial phase of like, there's a little bit of fear and worry that goes with that. You know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I was talking from a consumer perspective, but
okay.
Now you're talking about from a creator, and like
sure,
that's a whole nother beast of like.
Well, I still feel like it could apply as a consumer perspective of just using a platform, right? Whether you're using it to consume or using it to create. Yeah, it kind of feels like that. But I don't know. I find myself kind of toying with like what would it look like getting back on there and what would I do, but I don't know the answer. Kind of like you're talking about the intention.
Totally, right? It's like we have all these tools. If I want to do
something, I want it to be fucking.
But like, how do I make it me? How do I make it? Something that I can just not cringe,
For real. I did that, and I did it because I felt this, like I had to, or I felt this like fear of if I don't.
Impossible goals, right? Not cringe, not too in your face sales pitchy.
Yep. Just sharing, honest, entertaining. I really think about it more as two things: straight up entertainment. Or marketing, an ad.
The watchability, because
that's it.
And that's really why I don't scroll TikTok that much, because it is so much of just that. Like, it's either just the dumbest stuff you've ever seen, or like, buy this or whatever. Like,
right? Out, yeah, it's pretty much all it is, and I don't know where I fit into that equation.
Or it's like lowbrow content of like, something you really don't care about. So
right. Yeah, and I don't know. I'd rather provide something of value or entertainment, and I guess I don't feel like I have anything to contribute in those departments or something.
Totally. So that's why I think we just keep building up our repertoire, our
back catalog.
Exactly.
That's kind of how I feel. I really feel like it's been building. It's like a big.
When I have something that I think is important enough to share, then I think it'll be easy to share it in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, once you really do feel that you have the thing that is worth sharing, or you're excited to share, it almost feels like the sharing will
out itself.
Yeah, totally. So. And I guess I've learned because the other thing I think that has happened on or the contrast to living when you're present online and living when you're not present online, is that I felt this like constant fear, or like that I had to be using it or else I would lose something. I would lose my career. I would lose
Totally.
the engagement, all that shit, right? And
Yeah.
once you
And
kind
we
of
found that it's not that true. Right?
exactly, once you kind of get the space from it, you kind of realize you're like, oh, actually, you can still like live life and still like be okay and be happy. And I'm actually really enjoying making shit because I'm
agree.
still making a fuck ton of shit. I'm actually making more shit than when I was
Exactly.
on it.
Exactly.
So now I got a fat closet full of shit that someday I'll figure out how to share.
It's just different intention, right?
Right.
We're trying. It's such a struggle to enjoy life and figure out how your work can be meaningful and and not bother others with it, basically.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to. That's the other thing is I feel like people are so exhausted of feeling like people are trying to get their energy or their money or you know what I mean? They're constantly being marketed to.
Everyone's exhausted, right?
Yeah. And I don't want to be part of that. I really want to provide value.
Right. It's us trying to figure out how to give energy versus take, right? Like,
yeah. Like,
in a way.
did you ever, so like, you know how I did years ago, I did that community text thing?
Yeah.
Did
We did. We
you,
both did that.
yeah. So I was curious if you did. Did you do community or do a different one?
I think it was community. Yeah, I definitely signed up for community.
As an artist?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think I had to pay something.
Yeah, it was kind of a fat
got
paycheck.
like-
It was like $200 a
yeah.
month. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah. I didn't do it very long.
Okay, yeah.
wasn't
So, yeah, I did that for a
Actually,
couple
you know
of
what
years.
I did?
but then-
I did that, and then I swapped over because a different distribution thing that we use gave it out for free. Like, it was like essentially free.
Got it.
So-
Okay, yeah. Did DistroKid
DistroKid,
do that?
yeah. They did. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. They give
alright.
you basically the same options, except you just had to do it through their client.
Yeah, because when I first started doing it, it was COVID. And it was actually great. I loved shit like that. When I was in a band, we did something similar, but with Google Voice, and we would call people and text them, and it was really fun. And
The
so
band did,
I
yeah.
really enjoyed like texting people and having conversations with them. And it was really exciting at first, but then I watched the interactions and the engagement just drop over time.
Totally. But I think that's
because
what every
everybody started using it to just market people.
right. It's just like you send out your mass text, just like it's the same thing as an email. or
Yeah, and
something,
so
right?
everyone's like,
Email.
okay, cool, I don't
mass-
care.
Exactly.
And so I've been trying to figure out because I still have that list of those people. I don't, ever since I've, completely shut down the communications and trying to like set it up again in a new way. I've been trying to figure out how do I re-engage those people in a way that doesn't make them feel like I'm just trying to get their money again, because I value their connection. I value that they cared enough in the first place to sign up, and I'm not trying to just get a buck. I want
Totally.
to build a community, and I don't know the right way to re-enter that. And same with social media, right? It kind of feels like a similar topic.
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It is just another social platform in that sense, right? Like, it's just you can use it in the same way.
Yeah, it's connecting.
It feels like it's more personable, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's why when we started doing live streaming, I think we got a good.
Man, I miss that.
technique
That
for
is something else I'd love to do again. Yeah.
I'm sure that'll be on the horizon of a way we integrate back into something like that. But
True. Yeah, that's true. I loved that. Like, I got so much like
there was
fulfillment.
a lot of value out of that. A lot of learning. A lot of just
A lot of connecting.
That's something I think we both yearn for, right? Like, it's that bigger project that requires a lot of moving parts and people, and when it all comes together, it's like,
Mm,
yeah,
yeah, it
it's that
feels
nice-
real nice.
it really checks the dope, as the kids say.
Wait, is that what they're saying?
I think so.
Checks the dope.
Checking your dopamine, or like upping your and, So yeah, I think that is something that recently I've been really thinking about. Is I am yearning for that big project. Not that I need more projects to work on, but that project that requires. I miss collaboration a lot, but we're kind of back in isolation. I think a lot of people in the new generation as well. It's kind of weird. Like,
Yeah, why do you think Are you saying very recently or?
No, I think over since COVID basically, or even before that.
Well, COVID definitely set us in an isolation spiral
yes,
for sure.
totally. But I mean, even for me, like getting out of the band days or whatever, like it's that classic like pretentious, like I'll just do it all myself or whatever, because managing too many people is hard. And then then I really start missing that like camaraderie. I'm like, damn, I would like be in a band again.
Yeah, there's stuff that are so unique to that arrangement that you can only get that way through like a team or a collaborative project.
I also just have such a like self inhibiting mind of like, I don't know. I definitely am a person who needs that extra person or mind on a project or whatever, just to ease my thoughts about something, because I'll overthink something to death every time,
Oh, preach, brother.
Yeah.
That's the only way I know how.
Totally.
I just sit down in this room and I go,
exactly.
How do I recable that?
Yeah. What's the best way?
What's the best way to recable that?
How do I finish 1,000 unfinished songs I have on my hard drive?
Okay, pop quiz. How many either demos or unfinished, perhaps in progress, like whether it be mixing or whatever, songs are you sitting on right now?
I mean, probably more than 50 realistically.
Really? All right.
Oh yeah. But like then I narrow it down, right? So
right.
In my head I'm like I try to prioritize them, and then I'm like I sit down and then like can't get it going, and I'm like, all right, I need some help with this or whatever, or so slowly but surely, you fall into that rabbit hole of feeling like you're not doing enough, even though you got all this stuff in the closet, like you're saying. But then like because I've been reaching out to a lot of other people and kind of just one of the things I like to do is top lines for like a lot of these electronic artists and stuff. And over the long cold winter, I sent out a bunch, and then all of a sudden, like over the past week, all these artists have just randomly, after months of not hearing from anything, they're like, "Oh yeah, like I finally finished this. I took it out and I listened to it, and it's like satisfying, being like, oh yeah, that sounds pretty good."
Dude, that's great. I feel like I'm that type of producer for sure, where I'm like, like 3 years later, I'm like, hey, here's that song.
Yeah, totally.
But I like to sit on shit. I like to massage it for a while. I love to make 5 versions of a song and figure out what works.
I really am trying to get out of the mindset of any of my art being a racehorse, in the sense that, I think a lot of us artists really put too much pressure on ourselves when we're putting out our art, or, something that you kind of just like, your initial thought is like, all right, this has got to be like, I think a lot of new artists especially are like, this is the song, this is the one that's going to be
the song of the summer, you mean?
Or just like the one that breaks you, and like that kind of pressure is like not sustainable.
It's crippling. I can't, I mean, I didn't think I had the song of the summer or anything, but I definitely thought I had to make something that was going to make money of some kind.
Or just as something that like you get some kind of indication that you're doing something right.
Right. And that's but not always accurate.
At all, right? Yeah. Because it's so subjective in what you're doing. Like the ability to just do it now, like, is just what I'm trying to get. Zoom out, see that it's like something. This is what I've always wanted to do, and that I should be happy that I get to have the ability and just get to do it.
Totally, I agree with that, and that's, I think, a big part of getting that's space, right?
Step one of new intention.
Yeah,
so, yeah, big part of the space is going to be great. I imagine it'll unlock a whole new slew of creative projects and new hobbies and whatever, right? So I'm excited for that. But day by day, that's it,
It is day by day, yeah. And man, I don't know. I really can't speak highly enough of getting this space. And with that perspective, I guess.
Yeah. Like I think so many, your space has been so, the iterations time after time, and it happens, I've seen you change up your spot weekly, daily. It's just to keep optimizing, right? That's what especially you and I, we're really into that. So it's almost a pet peeve of mine when people are like, it's clearly reachable for them to like make one small change about something they're doing in their workflow for a project or something, and they're like, no, I've just been doing it like this.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you're right. You're like, yeah, that's just the comfort. Do you think, or is it laziness?
Probably a mix of everything. It's just like, I don't know. Everyone's different, so I don't.
Yeah, no judgment here, but we obviously know, because we're the kings of efficiency. But we're kind of like psychopathic in the way where it's like, yeah, well, I'm gonna keep changing shit, and so it's like you never really get that comfy.
My friends make me feel bad about it sometimes.
They're more, or you're saying they tease that you do that?
Yeah, they do.
Really?
They're like, oh, here we go, here he goes again with like some new fucking idea, or like,
That's probably how everybody feels about me too. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Like, we get it. We get it.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Every time I'm like, yeah, I just recabled the studio again for the third time this week. And it's like, why? Why are you doing that? Because clearly problems keep happening, or it's causing resistance. But I'm in the pursuit of less resistance.
Right. Because like when you tell me something, like, I'm just like, oh yeah, I get it. There's no surprise to me when every time I come over and there's a new device, or, and vice versa. Everyone knows that I like to invest in myself, my art, my projects. Like, it's not, I don't think twice about that kind of thing,
Yeah. I mean, it is investment. It's like, it's the old saying, grow or die, you got to keep. I've been really into the like concept of entropy lately. And like basically the law saying that energy needs to put into a system, or it will resort to its natural state of chaos. And I think that's what I'm doing through constantly iterating.
The great use of that word that's not having to do with thermodynamics or whatever. So.
Right. Yeah. Right. And it's like, well, I'm going to put energy in to change or adjust or tweak or modify.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
If you want your thing to be more efficient or better, you have to make a step to facilitate that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
It's actually incredible to me how some people operate. No, still no judgment. But
well, sometimes I think about, I'm like, is it better? Like, are they happier?
Right.
Like, maybe there's like no problems in their life because
it's just the way that their brain is wired versus ours. Maybe.
Why? Like, and why do you think we're wired that way?
We're eternally unsatiated, unsatisfied, because we know it can be better, and
Yeah. Nothing like
we
that.
Always want to. Maybe it comes down to we are truly trying to be just better. We like want,
Totally. That's definitely the driving force, or a driving force for me. It's like, I know that this is not the peak. This is not it.
Driving, but the negative effect of that is that there's also an actual endless pit of misery at the end when you actually can never achieve
right. Better
satisfaction. Yes.
Oh, there's an endless pit of misery.
Yes. So you have to be ready to deal with that.
Yeah. Well, and I think maybe that's where it's like, well, as long as you enjoy that process of the pursuit, then maybe that's all right.
It's about the pursuit. We love the chase. And it's not to say that it's better at all. Like, right? Like you're saying, like, it totally could be way simpler.
Yeah.
In workflow, specific case for a lot of these folks.
Imagine just having a phone and a laptop.
I totally could imagine it. I fantasize about it.
It sounds kind of great.
I fantasize. Yeah, that's.
As much as I love
just having a phone.
As much as I love the ship here, I don't know. It requires constant maintenance. Like any vehicle would. It requires...
Great things require love.
It requires energy in.
That's all it is.
I can't have this thing
full automation
rusting.
is obviously like the fantasy, the wet dream, but it's just it stimulates our brain because we know it's not possible. We know it's never going to be we can only take small steps, to get edge closer and closer.
Yeah. And what is that? It's just a puzzle to be solved. That's all. That's why I like it.
We love puzzles.
I want
to be challenged.
I want to know. I want to figure that thing out.
I want to know is a tagline, I just want to know.
I just
so much mystery in this
know.
world.
Yeah. Maybe that's like my what do you call it on a movie? Is it a tagline or would you call it like a they always have like a line that goes with in the bottom right corner of the poster or some
like
shit.
In a trailer when it's
kind of yeah. Like
yeah, it's a title, like a
subtitle.
Sure. I don't know. So
villainy has a new name.
Totally.
I just want to know.
I just want to know. What it is it's like a cutaway of in the trailer of a scene where the guy's screaming that. I want to know. And it cuts away and then it's like to the next scene or whatever. And then you're like, what does he want to know?
Everything.
What's in the box, right?
Yeah. Where are they?
Exactly. It's question. Life is about questions, and we're endlessly seeking answers. So that's where I'm at.
That's where you're at in the artist journey.
Absolutely.
I feel we're in similar spots.
Intention. Want to be in the know. I don't know, and slightly understimulated, or maybe not understimulated, but like it's hard to get excited about a lot of these things going on in art. Maybe I'm not pulling enough curtains back because as much as I am on the internet, I would say I'm not quite as in the know in that sense as a lot of other folk.
I feel the same way, and I don't know if it's because of just lack of quality or too much.
And I'm like, everything's like, this is really like objectively, this is all really great.
Yeah, but it's missing this like layer of quality that feels a little bit more nuanced, as they say, like personality or like. I was just talking to Sadie about this. That I would say the same thing kind of with movies or shows and any sort of mass media, consumable media, feels like the label or the artist or the studio has a fuck ton of money and they just throw it at people to go make something. But they're like, here's enough money to make something, but not enough something to make a really good product. So it's like objectively good, but it's missing this sort of energy that only comes from when there's so much on the line, whether it be millions of dollars or like if you're in a band and you're 4 dudes and you have everything to lose, maybe you make a fucking incredible record because it's all you got, right? And you have to work together and compromise and all this shit. And it kind of feels like between there just being like money thrown at something and
comfortable, you're saying?
Yeah, it's too compartmentalized. There's not enough people with skin in the game. They're like, well, that's fine if this gig doesn't work out because I got another one lined up and I'm on to the next, right? It's kind of, people are just slinging, making shit, getting the bag.
For me personally, I'm actually more impressed is a word I could use, but I have been watching a lot more like film and stuff like that and shows. And that to me has been more inspiring than current day music coming out for the most part. I think it's just more impressive. Maybe it's because the music curtain has been pulled back a little bit more for me than
it's pretty easy to make a decent song.
Right, and of course we're just like endlessly seeking challenges for ourselves. So
Right.
it's like, for me, it's like, of course I do like some commercial filmmaking and a lot of like independent small stuff, but like that dream of just doing a large scale, like working on a production that needs hundreds, if not thousands, of people to like create something, like that's tickling my brain.
Totally.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm like,
And that's
how do I get into the
music
centrifuge of that?
used to be a little bit more like
Yes,
that, I
totally.
think.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, especially for us who are, you know, um, seeking ways to facilitate the roles that, it's much more independent in that we can kind of fill all the roles now in music
Right.
from every step of the way, from conceptualizing
Right.
music to producing it to playing instruments on it to
writing,
marketing
engineering,
it, distributing it,
marketing,
like everything. You have to do it all now. It's like, of course, there are still roles and stuff, but I think you and I both are like, we should know, we like to be involved in every step. So it's like, why not learn how to do it? Has there anything that you've been recently inspired by at all, artist wise or music wise? Like, have you been listening to anything that's like, yeah, like I'll throw this on?
Yeah, and actually, I was going to ask you this question because it's the one I'm listening to. Granted, I forget all the time, but it's what I try to bring up every time. But it's sort of been a stale season of music for me. The most recent thing I heard that I actually loved was the new Coldplay stuff. I'm very excited for that record.
They could never do like any wrong for me.
Right, I'm a fanboy since day one, so like I don't know if that says anything, but I just think they're great. They grow well. They try new shit, but they still retain a sound of Coldplay, and you can very much tell that the 4 members of that band contribute their sound, and I think it's why there's that uniqueness to it, right? It's not the sound of someone else's splice loops.
We reference Coldplay all the time. We have a lot of heroes and inspirations in that sense. Like, and I think something I've been thinking about recently is like, I don't know if you did this as a kid, but like when you were learning to play music and instruments and stuff, like I was like get home from school, sit down on my family like PC or whatever, open up LimeWire or whatever version of iTunes it was back then, and I'd plug in my beginner Marshall guitar amp in my knockoff Epiphone Les Paul looking guitar, and I would rip from front to back the all-time low record or whatever and just play, and then in my head I would be able to perfectly mute the audio of the guitars playing in my head,
right,
and just play along to it as loud as appropriately possible in my home.
True. Yeah, that was such a fun thing to like cover, and you learn and practice through that. I definitely haven't done that in a second.
No, it's been decades.
And Coldplay was one of those.
Oh yeah, Coldplay. That's
great one.
I attribute Coldplay to basically any of my piano playing ability, basically, these days.
Yeah, but, I stopped playing lessons because I just wanted to play Coldplay songs. I'm like, I don't need this shit.
I had a thought though more recently that it's more about, like, back then it's you kind of almost were like, oh, I wish I could, like, you were like really channeling them, the person you were emulating. You were like, I was Johnny Guy or whatever, Johnny, Johnny Buckland or whatever.
Yeah. Guy Berryman is the other one.
Guy, yeah. And now it's, for me, I'm like, instead of, I'm trying to do things in this, like in my own music. Obviously, like my music is really a mix of the influences that I'm into, and as most people's. But instead of emulating, I think of it more as like seeking what they seek versus seeking them. Does that make sense?
Like seeking.
I'm trying to think like, I'm thinking like them. Trying to think like what, not so like what would they do, but like what are they trying
like what
to
inspired
do with
them?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great model. I've heard people say, listen to your inspirations.
Yeah.
And
Almost. Yeah.
I think that's totally like I found myself actually digging back in music a lot more lately. A lot of it was from reading. I read U2's or Bono's autobiography, and I listened to all the records that he talks about. And it's very clear U2 was a huge inspiration for Coldplay. I mean, aside from both working with Brian Eno, you can hear the guitar and the anthemicness of that music.
I think it's more like trying to figure out why I like it. You know? So like, I don't know. There's no secret. There's tons of clones of big artists these days.
Yeah.
You know, whatever, 1975, whatever. You know, EDM, tons doing, you know, more or less the same things successfully. You know, for the most part, and they sound everything sounds great. But for me, it's like I'm trying to really figure out. I don't know, why do I love these?
Totally, yeah. There's nuanced things in there.
Because then when I make something, it'll be more like I can love it because, you know, what I'm making it in that way, you know, instead of being like, I'm just going to copy this because I think it's cool and I can't think of something better. Like, you know.
Yeah. And when you dig into it, I think you often find like these elements that are beyond genre, and that's why we like multiple types of artists and songs and what. And
I haven't thought about genre and
right.
You know.
So like you pull out these things that it's like, oh, I like that because it's anthemic or it's melodic or it's this type of instrument.
Is nice, whatever.
Right.
Sometimes it's more technical than that too.
Totally.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can really hone your sound to those things. And that makes you have your sound because you're pulling those elements from multiple places instead of just imitating an artist.
Mm-hmm. I think we're all desensitized too these days about the amount of things that are just thrown in your face, like, and the availability of it has definitely affected us in a negative way, in a sense. Or at least, like, I would be so excited for a new. I know there's plenty of people that are like still so excited when new artists drop, right? Like that's it's still a thing. But for me, it's like the charm of it lasts so little now because Zed or whatever just dropped a new album. Haven't listened to it yet. I listened to like 2 songs and I was like, this is really sick. He's like so proud, you know, you can tell he's really proud of it, like super passionate about it from his posts and stuff like that. But then I'm like, I can't like remember. Yeah,
I actually listened to it and I agree. It very much feels like something he wanted to do, which big fan of. And actually one of my favorite songs right now is from that. But it's actually, I would say it's more a Gray song than a Zed song because Gray put out this EP that has a lot of fucking Jungle Boy type shit on there. And this track it's called Shanti. It is so fucking sick. I haven't replayed a song like that since fucking $1 Million Baby. But
dude, I didn't even know about the Zed album until I saw John Mayer posted that he did a song with him, and I was like, all right, I'm in.
It's cool. Like it's cool that he can do that shit. But yeah,
it's great. It's a masterclass. It's a masterclass. Honestly, that the record, I can tell without having to listen to it. I bet it's incredible. You know, like, but unfortunately, it's like I can't think of a song like when I was a kid when I would listen to a record over and over and over and over. You know, there's nothing has that staying power for me anymore, and I don't think it's like the actual content itself. I think it's the new frontal lobe that I've developed, you know, or like people have developed. It's just it's hard to not move on from stuff now, you know. Things are just moving fast.
It's so fast. Can't keep up.
The memento of things is just kind of gone now, you know.
That's where I don't know where to fit into that because I can feel the speed like pulling on me. And
we want to be like memento artists that people want to come back to time and time again, right? But it's like,
I want to provide value. I don't want it to be something where it basically wasn't valuable enough to stick with someone that something else then just came, you know, kicked it out of the focus.
It was actually heartbreaking to me the other day when one of my friends is like a absolute like Weekend just super fan.
Yeah.
like in the sense of like, you know, for us it's like Coldplay or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Like Chris Martin can do no wrong. Like he's the best. But like The Weeknd put out that new record with
Yeah.
the, you know, with the Apple Music video, the new iPhone.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, yeah, I don't know. This one really didn't do it for me. And I was like, damn, that's heartbreaking. Like to hear, you know, because like, I mean, I think the song's great, obviously. Like,
Yeah.
He knows that. It's just like, he was just like, oh, like, I don't know. It just didn't have that like extra love that he used to like put in. I was like, damn.
So like he can tell that, like,
No,
I'd be curious to know what he has to say about it. You
My
know,
vision
like
is
why?
more like, I think he actually tried just as hard as
Okay.
any other thing. Like, but you know, I bet he did. You know, it's just, it's the classic case. So you can never just make everyone happy. I think. You know, like it's just kind of too bad. I don't know.
It is too bad. It's
Made me a little sad the other day. I was like,
that is a bummer.
because I've had, you know, like maybe it's the type of fan I am where I'm really open to an artist doing kind of whatever they want if it makes them happy and they think it's good. Because then I can feel that, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But yeah, you're right. I think I can tell when a lot of artists are phoning in a project or whatever, you know.
Yeah. I really want to see people go back to taking 3 years off to make a record.
Yeah, which is why also we respect guys like Mannion and Porter who, you know, stuff like that where they literally they disappear and then when they're ready, they're ready. And I think I'm really trying to do that. So
yeah, I'm in it. Recommended. I don't really know what the fuck's on the other side, and maybe I'm just trying to reassure myself at this point to curb the fear of what happens when you attempt to return after 3 years and your engagement is gone and the platforms has fucking pushed you down the algo and all the whatever. But
sticks of, you know, you did every buzzword in there you threw in is just.
I know, that's how I feel, and I gotta just like not think about it and just keep doing this, which is why it's great to not be on the internet because it reminds you.
Totally.
You don't need the reminders all the fucking time of how great everyone else thinks they're doing.
Yeah. Totally. Because I'm a lover of the internet, right? Like I'm on there for sure. I'm not like doom. I'm not a crazy heavy doom scroller or anything, but you know, I like to say I curate my consumption very mindfully, very demure. But you know, I try to make it a safe space for me. You know.
Yeah. You make it a safe space for me.
Yeah, I can. You trickle down. You know, it's like, oh, I saw some bad stuff on there. You don't need to check this out.
Yeah. Thank you. You're the filter for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what are you listening to?
Dude, it's been tough. What have I been listening to? I keep opening up. I've been letting Spotify's algo, like I'll hit a song that I'm like, you know, I'm always kind of listening to that sad pop type stuff, and I'll let the radio hit after that, and I'll find new random artists and stuff like that I don't even remember like their names, which is like terrible. But,
that's playlist life for sure.
Yeah. You know, classic stuff that everyone's listening to, Brat.
Yeah, how do you feel about Brad? I feel like that's a pretty heavy dance record for someone like you that's not as into that. It's pretty underground. Like, it's very much club.
I like the garage stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I like that. You know,
Sadie's been really into that record.
It's great. Well, Charlie XCX for me has been like, she's really pop, obviously, right? So I've been in touch with that, you know. And obviously I know about a lot of the stuff that goes on in the dance world and keep up enough. It's just I haven't been able to connect with it as much in recent years since putting the decks down, you know. But no, it's not to say that it doesn't leave a soft spot in the heart, and I can't get down to some really nice groovy,
some nasty
house. Or nasty bassy, and all of my upcoming collabs are fucking EDM stuff, you know, which I like want to continue to do.
Anything like that though?
No, I'm actually looking for someone to collab and do something like that with.
Kind of nasty.
Like a
Maybe,
really,
maybe we should make something because I've been trying to find my version of that. I mean,
It's exactly because like obviously like I like to do more melodic stuff and as like a vocalist or whatever. But yeah, I've done some collabs that are just straight up like house, really like deep house, tech house, and then some melodic stuff. So I'm open to it all. Whatever I think is cool. But I've also heard of a lot of like
rule.
stuff that I'm just like I'm not into this, and I'm not, and I just won't work on it. So.
Yeah, that's a great rule. You just got to be into it.
Yeah.
You gotta stroke the inner flame of curiosity.
Yeah. Totally. And sometimes I'm just like, ooh, I don't know if I could do it, but like I should try.
Yeah, that's a challenge I want to figure out for sure.
Yeah. Like I haven't really tried something like that before, but I like to try. So sometimes I'm just like completely burned out and drained and from nothing at all either too. It's like I haven't done anything. Yeah. And I'm like, I can't do any of this today or tomorrow, for a while because something's not clicking with my brain right now,
Yeah. Soldier on.
That's it.
Well, Rick, I appreciate you answering my call. I feel like I should let you get back to your life with this impromptu call.
Life. I do need a life.
You're probably like, who's this fucking guy calling me? I haven't talked to him in 2 years.
The line's always open. I'm glad your comms are up.
Well, we're going to find out. I really hope this thing stays because it's been a pain in the ass. But if it does, hopefully now we got a reliable connection to the portal. So pop in anytime if you see me in here.
Absolutely. And you as well into, the Badnights portal.
Portals into each other's lives. I feel like I love, you got your ship, I got my ship. We're in different parts of the galaxy.
Oh, yeah. But that's the beauty of technology, right? Look at us. Look at this. What's going on right now?
It's pretty nuts.
Pretty cool.
Assuming this works.
It's going to work.
I need to say positive messages to my machine over there. Hey.
It's going to work.
I believe in you. You can do hard things. Okay? I'm looking at you.
Yeah, talk to it nice. Keep her cool in there.
Yeah. Any final sign-off words, Rick? Do you want to sign us off here? Imparting wisdom? You've imparted a lot of wisdom today, I feel like.
We will see you soon. More wisdom to come. More art to come. Stay true to yourself. And stay demure.